Basketball is back inside Pinnacle Bank Arena here in Lincoln, Nebraska. The Cornhuskers hosting the preseason number 8 ranked team in the country, the Cougars of BYU, and we've got all the action for you here on Big Ten Plus. Hi everyone, and welcome courtside alongside the former Husker Andy Markowski. I'm Jessica Cootie, and with the changes of the rules of the NCAA allowing for this caliber of an exhibition contest, and talking with both head coaches Kevin Young and Fred Hoiberg, get the sense that they're really excited for this measuring test here for both their teams.
Yeah, certainly an awesome experience to have the NCAA change the rule. Normally you wouldn't want to schedule a top 10 team as your opener in Coach Hoiberg's situation, and you don't really want to go on the road for your first game. So this is a great litmus test. Both teams have a lot of new pieces to try to fit together in the puzzle, and it's after this game you're going to get some film. You're going to be able to go back to the drawing board and see what you need to get better at the next couple weeks of practice before it goes live.
Expecting a pretty great crowd here on hand inside Pinnacle Bank Arena. A lot of that is to watch the talent that's going to be on the court. Let's get to some players to watch, starting with the visiting team. A.J. DeBonsa, the highly touted freshman, projected top 3 lottery pick in next year's NBA draft. He's the real deal.
Yeah, the number 1 recruit, was the MVP of the FIBA under-19, 6'9", very versatile forward, can score in the mid-range, can shoot the 3, can finish at the rim, but really has the ability to just be a great teammate, can make plays, is really a great passer. So look for him to really blend. They'll use him as a point guard. They'll play him off the ball, but just a tremendous talent and maybe one of the most highly ranked players to ever come through PBI. Remember Kevin Durant as a top potential pro, and AJ's right at that level.
All right, for the Huskers, the highly anticipated return of Rink Mast. Sat out last season due to the surgery and injury to his knee. They were able to be very, very patient with him, but this is a big key piece for Fred Hoiberg getting Rink back out onto the court.
Yeah, they only had 4 returners, not counting Lawrence and Rink Mast. So getting that leadership back, Rink was able to kind of sit back, be almost a coach, help that development, but his play on the court is going to help Coach Hoiberg so much. He led the team in assists 2 years ago. He led them in rebounding. He had 34 points in a game that led to a big upset of Ohio State. So his talent and his versatility will really be big for this team, and it certainly will help Coach Hoiberg get this group out of the gates quick.
Just about set to tip this thing off. Starting lineups have been announced as we take a look at the guys joining DeBonsa and Mast for the Huskers. Berke Butengel, Price Sanford, the transfer from Iowa, Cale Jacobson, the junior out of Ashland, Nebraska, and how about Jamarcus Lawrence making his return to Pinnacle Bank Arena for the Cougars, along with DeBonsa. Robert Wright III, the transfer point guard out of Baylor. Keba Keita, top offensive rebounder in the country. Richie Saunders, one of the top shooters in the country. And Kennard Davis Jr., the transfer from Southern Illinois.
Great crowd for the noon arrival here at PBA.
Mast and Keita set to tip, and here we go. BYU gets the first look at it.
Nebraska open in their man-to-man defense.
There's Saunders on the wing.
You mentioned Saunders, leading scorer a year ago at 16 a game. 80% free throw shooter, 50 from the 2 and 40% from the 3. So very versatile offensive player.
Shot clock winding down. Saunders in the lane. Tipped out. Jacobson comes away with it. Over to Lawrence. Kick over to Mast. Sanford pump fake. Jump shot. Rims out.
Yeah, great use of the shot fake by Sanford. Created that mid-range shot. Just unable to get it to fall.
Davis inside to Keita. Stumbling around. Berke gets a piece of it. Back up. And they're going to call the foul on Berke Butengel.
BYU kind of with a short roll there took advantage of Nebraska's baseline rotation. Berke just a little out of position there. You mentioned Keita's ability to play around the rim. Just a great offensive rebounder. Kind of a pick and roll player, finishing at the rim, getting to the free throw line. Has struggled from the free throw line for his career. Just a 49% career free throw shooter. Knocks the first one down.
Last year was his first season with BYU, and Finished with 100 offensive rebounds, with the second most in program history. So Huskers are going to have to find him when the shot goes up.
Yeah, great job making both attempts. I know Coach Young had a chance to watch Nebraska practice yesterday. Coach Hoiberg was kind of getting ready for a little bit more pressure. BYU thought maybe they could deny a little bit more athletic on the perimeter than a year ago.
And foul call underneath.
Just Mast and Cada just kind of in a little bit of a battle on the backside of rebound.
So Huskers ball underneath. Jamarcus Lawrence going to inbound. Great to see him back in a Husker uniform. Inside to Butengel. Goes up strong over Cada, and it's good.
Yeah, really good patience by Berke there, playing off 2 feet.
Dibonsa back the other way.
So important for Nebraska to get back in transition. You see Dibonsa there just sprinting the wing. One dribble, gets to the rim, finishing through contact.
Cada guarding Mass tough here and out of bounds. BYU basketball.
Yeah, there you see that pressure. BYU defense really forcing Mass to over dribble there, creating that first turnover.
4-2, BYU leading this thing early. Robert Wright the third here with the ball. In the transfer from Baylor. There's Saunders for 3. Lawrence on the rebound. Tipped away by Dibonsa. He's going to take it back the other way. Nice feed back over to Wright. Falling out of bounds and saves it to Dibonsa. Kick out. BYU swinging it around and a travel.
Yeah, you see the impact that Dibonsa has made already in the game. You know, that length creates that turnover. You know, there was a left-handed hammer pass to the corner. I mean, just amazing skill for the freshman. Reason why 12 NBA scouts are already here for the first exhibition game, his first collegiate game.
Lawrence, corner 3. Rims out.
Yeah, another good possession by Nebraska. A couple open shots, unable to knock either down.
Wright for 3. No good. Mass on the board. Yeah, Coach Hoiberg said watching film, this BYU team, elite athleticism. Going to challenge these Huskers from the outside. Mass for 3. That's good. That's what he can do.
Yeah, just, you know, Cada is really terrific defender around the rim, shot blocker, and Mass, you know, makes those defenders go out and defend the three-point line, which will then open up some driving lanes for the other players at Nebraska. So unique skill set. And I know Coach Hoiberg is happy to have Rink back in the lineup.
Dibonsa no good. Berke with the rebound.
Yeah, good shot by Dibonsa, getting to his spot, just unable to get the little pull up to fall.
Jacobson swings it over to Sanford for 3. No good, but he doesn't miss often, or hasn't missed often in practice.
Yeah.
They're going to call a foul inside on Jacobson.
Yeah, Sanford, you know, really is going to be counted on to be a go-to perimeter scorer this year for Coach Hoiberg's group. As you mentioned, he's had a really good summer. You know, really the last month of practice has been one of their go-to perimeter players.
And checking into the game, fan favorite, Sam Hoiberg, the senior guard.
Yeah, really one of the 4 returners that Nebraska has that played a year ago on the roster, even though Lawrence was very familiar with the system, having transferred back from Rhode Island, and then obviously you get Mass back. So 6 players that have been in Coach Hoiberg's system.
Saunders on the drive, travel. So Husker basketball, a couple turnovers here early for BYU, and that takes us to our under 16 media timeout. Nebraska up 5-4 over BYU here on Big Ten Plus. Welcome back inside Pinnacle Bank Arena. Exhibition action. Nebraska up early here on BYU, 5-4. Alongside Andy Barkowski, I'm Jessica Cootie. Listen, the preseason is long, and these teams can practice in July. They've had a long time going against each other. Seems like they're both really ready to see somebody else here today.
Yeah, just is that point of the camp that you want to not only have the opponent not know everything that you run in practice, which can happen, but also just get out in front of fans and compete against somebody different, guard some different actions.
Sanford, a couple misses there to start.
I think both teams have ran really good offense, just not able to make some open jump shots.
Saunders gets in trouble inside and throws it off of a Husker, so BYU basketball inbounds.
Mastis certainly had an impact on the game with the 1 3-pointer. DeBonce's got a steal, a couple rebounds, a basket. Certainly the featured players have got off to quick starts here.
Hoiberg on Saunders. Here's Wright. Taking it inside, goes up. Nice finish.
Yeah, good patience by Wright, able to penetrate in the lane. Reverse layup to avoid the shot blocker.
Taken away by Wright. Back the other way. Nifty finish there by Wright. Back-to-back buckets for the sophomore. Transfer from Baylor.
Yeah, again, that denial pressure defense has bothered Nebraska. Creates some offense for BYU.
Keita guarding Rink tough out here on the key, top of the key. Lawrence, floater, no good. Battle inside for the board. Keita comes away with it. Saunders for 3. That looked good from the moment it left his hands.
Yeah, just 16 points a year ago. Certainly won't probably be asked to score as much with the group that Coach Young has put together.
Mass for 3, answers on the other end.
But certainly, Saunders can really score when needed.
Saunders shot over 43% from the three-point line a year ago. There he goes again. Too strong on that one. Loose ball, Lawrence comes away with it.
Yeah, that was on 160 three-point attempts too, which, to shoot over 40 as a volume three-point shooter.
Mast is feeling it. He's feeling it. 3 threes for Ring Bast. Tie ball game at 11.
Again, it's just such a hard position to guard as a 5 when traditionally you're asked to kind of defend the rim in the paint.
Long board, Hoiberg comes away with it. Over to Sanford. Sanford, 3. Long rebound, out of bounds. He's over 3 to start, and he's a better shooter than that. He's gonna make a lot of threes. He's getting a feel for being in this arena in the front of this crowd.
Yeah, you can, sometimes you want to, really play well, right? He's, played at Iowa, which has a natural rivalry with Nebraska, so now you're coming in and really wanting to play your best and play well. But to your point, if you consistently shoot it well in practice, that will translate in the games. And I don't think Coach Hoiberg is worried about Price's ability to make jump shots. He knows he's going to make plenty of those in a Husker uniform this season.
Some new Huskers onto the court. Braden Frager, the redshirt freshman, getting his first action. Coach Hoiberg said there's nobody more excited, no two people more excited to be back in this arena than Rink Mast and Braden Frager, who redshirted last year. Kendall Blue, one of the transfer senior guards from St. Thomas, very veteran guard. And Connor Esijan played very well for this Husker basketball team off the bench last year.
Yeah, and it's a little different lineup. You take Mast out, which played with Bearkay as kind of a 4-5 combination. Now they're going a little smaller. They're going to play Bearkay at the 5. And then Blue gives you a lot of, Blue and Frager give you a lot of versatility. They're big, long, athletic wings that can guard bigger. Blue can guard point guards to 4, and the same with Frager. So you put a shooter out with a Esijan with a little smaller lineup than around Bearkay. So I think this group for Nebraska this season gives Coach Hoiberg a little bit more flexibility. They can go big, or they can go small. Certainly, I think shooting the basketball from a percent-wise. I think he thinks maybe this group will be a little bit better shooting group than a year ago. But also you lost Juwan Gary and Bryce Williams, two terrific seniors that they're going to have to find a way to replace.
He bonds it to the rim, throws it down.
Yeah, great set for Coach Young. Just kind of a little ghost screen clear out for DeBonsa. And just one dribble gets all the way to the rim for the finish.
Here's Frager over to Hoiberg. Swinging it around. Frager for three from the corner, no good. DeBonsa again to the rim, and one.
There you see DeBonsa's ability to play with the ball in his hands. Just, got the rebound out in transition. I think one of the teaching points for Nebraska is going to have to get bodies, back into the lane in transition, get people in front of DeBonsa to try to make him a passer. Just tremendous talent. Already, 6 points, 3 rebounds, a steal.
So we'll look to convert here on the three-point play. And gets the rim, gets the roll. 16-11 BYU. Bonds up to 7 points. Ringmast checking back in for the Huskers. Nice move inside. He's off to a great start here. 11 points for Mast. Pump fake, three ball is down for Davis.
Davis was a 11-point scorer a year ago at Southern Illinois, just another versatile guard.
Careless with the basketball there for the Huskers. And foul call on Sam Hoiberg. That will take us to our under 12 media timeout. BYU taking the 19-13 lead over Nebraska. We're gonna step aside for a break. More action coming up here on Big Ten Plus. And we welcome you back inside Pinnacle Bank Arena. BYU up 19-13 on Nebraska here in the first half of this exhibition contest. Take a look at the head coaching matchup. Fred Hoiberg into his 7th season. And the Huskers coming off back-to-back 20-plus win seasons for the first time since the 90s. And a win in the Crown tournament, had a great showing out there in Vegas in the inaugural Crown, college basketball Crown. And for BYU, Kevin Young in his 2nd season, 26-10, a Sweet 16 appearance. And again, both these coaches coming from the NBA prior to these stops here. And it's listening to the players that want to come play for them. It's kind of similar messaging, knowing that these coaches are going to prepare them for the next level.
Yeah, I think both offenses run a lot of NBA actions. Their skill development, the ability to shoot the three, finish at the rim. You can just see the pace that both teams want to play with on the offensive end, and I think it is a credit to what a great job Coach Young's done in just his 2nd season, 26 wins a year ago, and a preseason top 8 ranking this year. So certainly that momentum is building at BYU. And for Coach Hoiberg, I thought the finish last year was great. They got a lot of new pieces that I think can help them have success in the Big Ten. It would be great to string a 3rd 20-win season, together and continue to build that momentum he's built, up to year 7.
DeBonsa draws the foul. He'll head back to the free throw line for 2. We have BYU preseason top 10 ranking for the first time in program history.
And you can see why. Just some returning talent, but also, I think DeBonsa gives you a chance with that level of #1 high school recruit, potential lottery pick. You can see the imprint he's had in this game already. Just a tremendous talent that's going to help everyone else on the roster be better, just because the teams are going to have to really focus and figure out a way to defend him. Already
9 points.
9 points, with half the first half remaining.
Sejan in the corner, out to Blue. There's Mast. To Frager. Sejan for three. Too strong. Debanza, the rebound.
Yeah, good look for Sejan. Nice little set. Just not able to get the three to fall. Nebraska's now, 3 of 10 from the three-point line.
3 no good. Back inside. Offensive rebound for Hadim Boop, who's checked in for the Cougars. 10-point lead for BYU. Loose ball. Hoiberg comes away with it. Blue extra pass to Sejan in the corner. Offensive rebound for Mast. Draws the foul. He'll head to the free throw line.
Yeah, good job by Mast, just really going inside and competing.
11 points, 4 rebounds for Mast.
Yeah, it's been, the one player that has played consistent over this 10-minute period. I think Coach Hoiberg's, I think offensively they feel like they've gotten good looks. 3 of 11 from the three. This is a team that's, really is going to define themselves on being a three-point shooting team. I think a lot of the sets they run is going to be to get, their shooters open three-point shots. I think BYU has done a little bit better job of scoring some different ways. They've been to the free throw line. They got a transition layup. They've got a couple offensive rebound putbacks. Nebraska's going to have to, find some different areas to score here. Just stop depending on that three-point shot if they're not able to get it to fall.
Mast with 13 of the 15 Husker points. 3 too strong there. Frager pulls down the board, and he's fouled on the effort. Jared Garcia has also checked in for Nebraska, another one of the new pieces that the Huskers added from the transfer portal. Spent the last 2 seasons at Tulsa.
Yeah, Garcia gives him, physicality at that 4 spot. He also can step away and shoot the three.
Sejan out to Mast, 4-3. He is feeling it here in his return to action in Pinnacle Bank Arena.
Yeah, Xavier Staten is in the game for BYU. Really talented top 100 freshman.
16 points for Mast.
And, Staten just was not able to get out to Mast on that pick and roll.
3 in the corner. Diamande pulls down the board. Kick out here to Kostic.
Yeah, again, exhibition game allows coaches to play a lot of different lineups, a lot of, players get into the rotation in the first half.
Sejan for 3, that's good. Huskers heating up from the outside.
Yeah, now 5 of 13 from the three, just that fast. Nebraska's made a couple 3 points.
Kostic, kick out to Boop. Inside, the kick out. Inside, throws it up and out of bounds. Husker basketball.
And I think the versatility of Nebraska is going to allow Sejan to have a really good season as well. There was a lot of capable scorers. Sejan is, started a little bit last year, but kind of came off the bench. I could see him still in that, bench position where he could be that first guy off the bench and come in and really get us going offensively.
Here's a freshman 7-footer, 7'2" to be exact, Leo Curtis. 5-point lead for BYU. Lawrence to Sejan. Back-to-back threes for Connor Sejan.
Yeah, really the same action that Sejan got the first 3. Coach Hoiberg came back to it. This time Sejan knocks it in.
Rebound Huskers.
Good job by Garcia of staying vertical.
Lawrence, strong finish. Huskers on a run. And Kevin Young wants a timeout. DeMarcus Lawrence ties it all up at 26. What's allowed for this run here for the Huskers to tie it back up?
Well, I think their offensive pace has been good. They Mast hit a three, which got the confidence going. Then Esijan hits a big one in the corner, and then he gets another one from the top of the key. And there you see Lawrence, takes advantage of a long defensive rebound, gets out in transition. So, I think confidence kind of breeds confidence when you finally hit a three, it loosened up a little bit. And then, also BYU is playing with, a few of their newer players too. And I think some of the actions that Coach Hoiberg has ran has bothered them and given us some of those open shots. So Coach Young takes a timeout, is kind of trying to settle his group down. And it looks like he's going back to kind of that starting group.
We take a look at a few of the highlights here. There's Rink Mast.
Yeah, just a little pick and pop, just so difficult. That one's out from 24 feet, just spreads the floor so well at that 5 spot. There's another one, just not able to get out to defend that three. And
Huskers on an 8-0 run in the last 59 seconds.
That's got to be a great feeling for Mast, right? You sit there all year, cheering on your teammates and the ability to get healthy, get back out on the court.
He's 5 for 5 from the field, 4 for 4 from three-point for 16 points.
And again, I think when you have to really focus on how you're guarding Mast, and that's where the versatility of some of the other players from Nebraska can now take advantage of that. You look at Esijan getting a couple of those open threes where they're not willing to really help off of Mast. He just can help your offense in so many different ways. Even if he's not making open threes, his impact as a passer and just forces the other team's bigs to go out on the perimeter and guard him. So, opens up some things for Lawrence to get to the rim and drive like that last layup before the timeout.
Esijan's got a pair of threes as well, and he's one of those shooters. He can get hot in a hurry and hurt you in a hurry from the outside.
Yeah, Connor's had a great career. He's transferred from Wisconsin, where he was one of their best three-point shooters. They had a tremendous season a year ago, and certainly looking on, building on that and finishing his career off strong for Nebraska.
What's Kevin Young telling his team here in this timeout?
Well, defensively they've got to tighten up a little bit. Nebraska, I thought they really pressured Nebraska early, bothered them, took them out of some of their rhythm, so they need to get back to that. And then offensively, I think they're fine. They've gotten a lot of good shots. They're shooting 9 of 20 from the floor, 3 of 10. They've been to the free throw line 5 times, so I think he's very happy on the offensive end. Now it's just, getting them to settle down a little bit and start contesting some of those open Nebraska threes.
Cougars going back to their starting 5 here as well. Out of the timeout.
And those are important lessons too. It's you want to give everybody on your roster an opportunity to play, get some film, and and teach from that.
Davis for 3. Lawrence with the rebound, kick up ahead to Garcia. Nice transition there for the Huskers. Back on the other end.
Yeah, you see Wright just is going to really stabilize BYU. Transferred from Baylor, really strong, really good off the bounce.
Takes it to the rim, draws the foul on Esijan. So Wright will head to the free throw line.
Coach Young will put a lot of that midline ball screen with Keita, and you're not going to really be able to switch that. You got to be careful on the roll. Keita is so efficient, at the rim, whether you dump it to him or whether you shoot it, then he's going to be able to go and rebound and miss. And then you spread the floor with Saunders and DeBonsa, that midline ball screen. It's going to be really difficult for teams to defend this season.
Robert Wright, the third, Big 12 all-freshman team member last season, averaged over 11 points and over 4 assists, actually set the Baylor single-season assist record, 148 assists. Also the single-game freshman assist record, dished out 13 times in a game for Baylor. So nice addition here for Kevin Young. Those 2 for 2.
And you can tell it's going to be an unselfish team for Coach Young this year. DeBonsa sets the table by being very unselfish, and then you add a point guard like Wright, as you mentioned, with great assist numbers, where you just create this culture of passing and finding shots for teammates.
There's Curtis. A nice feed from Esijan.
Yeah, Leo had really good international summer. He's playing in that same FIBA under-19 tournament.
Offensive rebound, another one for BYU. Davis puts it back up and in. Siegen for three. Heat check there. Inside, what a dish. And foul is called. Keita heads to the free throw line.
Sorry, that's going to be 2 on a Siegen. I don't, certainly if it's on a Siegen, it's probably on the ground, but I think Leo kind of pushed him from behind too, so it's going to put Keita on the free throw line for 2. Nebraska's played 11 players so far in this half. BYU has played, and they've played 11, so both coaches have played a lot of different rotations. 13 minutes into this first half.
Keita knocks down the first one.
Yeah,
Hoiberg back in, Jacobson back in, and Sanford back in.
A great start by Keita. As I mentioned, certainly an area he must have worked on this summer. 3 of 3 so far in the game. It's so important to be able to make foul shots. Keita will be probably in a lot of the end of the game situations just with his ability to really defend and rebound.
You jinxed him there, though.
Well, 3 or 4 still off to a good start, but did the old announcer curse?
Jacobson in the corner, baseline drive. He draws a foul. Cale Jacobson, a very versatile piece for Coach Hoiberg, has played, all 5 positions, but at the Crown tournament when the Huskers won the whole thing, he was a big part of that. Just stuffed the stat sheet and made the big plays when the Huskers needed it in really all of their games there in Vegas.
Yeah, just a veteran, had a great high school career here in Nebraska and has worked hard to improve a lot of areas of his game. Is really shooting the basketball well, but really a high IQ, knows their system inside and outside. As you said, they can play him, multiple spots, but defensively I think is where they feel like he's maybe ahead of some of the newer players on their roster.
What a feed inside right to Keita.
Again, that midline ball screen, just Nebraska does a poor job of rotating, and Wright's vision gets Keita the easy basket.
Sanford inside. He's fouled.
Yeah, Sanford's shown some versatility. Known as kind of a catch-and-shoot three-point shooter, but his first shot of the game was kind of a shot-fake pull-up, and there you see he's turned that first jump shot down, gets to the basket, and he's going to get himself to the free throw line.
He's 0 for 3 to start, and a lot of times that's a good way to get yourself going, is to get to the free throw line.
Great point, Jessica. Absolutely. You see the ball go through. Just kind of allows you to excel a little bit. Again, I think Sanford's such a great fit for just Coach Hoiberg and how he coaches offense and recruits offense.
Grew up going to Fred Hoiberg basketball camps at Iowa State. Goes 2 for 2. Huskers back up by 1, 34-33, 6:12 to play here in the first half. This has been a fun one.
Yeah, you knew both teams were very capable offensively. Certainly, first 4-minute timeout, they struggled, but now they've settled into this game, and both teams playing at a high level.
Staten out of bounds there. Trying to pull down another offensive rebound. Husker basketball. Lawrence over to Mast. Knocked away. BYU back the other way to Bonsa. Draws another foul. This one on Jacobson. 2 fouls for Cale Jacobson.
Yeah, Kennard Davis did a great job of rotating over, getting that steal from
Crowd
Mass.
doesn't like it.
Yeah, I think there was a lot of ball there. But you see just Devonta's length and pace of taking the ball from the defensive end and getting out in transition offense. It's going to be something that teams are going to have to adjust for and really load to the basketball and try to make him a passer, which he's willing to do, which is going to open up a lot of shots in the corners for BYU this season.
He's into double figures, 10 points, 4 for 4 from the free throw line. He's done a good job of getting himself to the free throw line.
Yeah, and that's a great skill too. Players that can draw fouls. You get teams in foul trouble, and obviously he's gonna.
Bryce
be a
Williams
handful.
did that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's you get into the bonus faster, which helps your team. You take sometimes you eliminate players by getting them in foul trouble. So sometimes not just the points you score; they can impact the game in a lot of different ways.
Mass working inside. Kick out to Blue for 3. He knocks it down. That's what Ring Mass can do as well. He doesn't just shoot threes. He's a great passer.
Well, he posted and got a basket about at the 10-minute mark, and now they send a double team, and he's such a great passer. He gets a teammate a 3, to your point. Just impacts the game in so many areas.
Hoiberg finds himself alone, and one for Sam Hoiberg.
And there he gets the assist.
Huskers clicking on all cylinders right now.
And we mentioned all the way that Devonta can impact the game. Mass is doing it differently, just with his three-point shooting, with his passing from that reversal spot, his rebounding.
Coach Hoiberg talked about that. I mean, he just adds that element that you have to pay attention to him as a shooter, and then that opens up his ability to really spread it around. All right, we got a timeout here on the floor. I believe it's just a 30. Kevin Young having a conversation with the officials.
Yeah, I'm not sure what they're, this is game 1 or 2 for the officials as well, right? This is kind of an exhibition game for them. Got a veteran crew here at PBA for this noon exhibition game.
Huskers up 39-35, 4:59 to play in the first. And Fred Hoiberg had talked about, first time you play against an opponent, not yourselves, is you learn the most about your crew and get exposed and what you need to work on.
Yeah, this will be a tremendous. Not only just you go through your game prep. Yesterday, they had practice. Then what team meal looks like, and you want to set what that day and what that structure looks like. So all that is getting set with this exhibition game. But then you get a chance to get film, offensively, defensively, transition. You're going to stat the different lineups. Now they got Stanford at the 4. This is the first time that they've played, Price at the 4, and you have Mass back to your 5. You're playing with 2 good ball handlers in Lawrence and Blue. So this is kind of the first lineup. So the staff will stat this and get a good feeling for what lineups were the most successful together. And same with Coach Young and BYU. They're looking at some different lineups, some different actions, things that they guarded well, things that they need to go back and get better. They play North Carolina to open, so they certainly, this is an important game for them as, they have one of the, top programs in the country coming into Utah to play them.
Hoiberg makes it a 3-point play, gives the Huskers a 5-point lead. Davis over to Saunders. Saunders for 3, that one's good.
Yeah, just a great job of using a dribble to kind of separate, just tremendous separation off of Price, who gets one dribble.
Blue to Lawrence. Long rebound, Blue. Sanford knocks it down. His first 3.
Again, another offensive rebound, creates an extra possession. You called it. Sanford got 2 free throws to fall, and took that shot in rhythm with confidence.
Devonta, wow, how do you guard that?
You don't. Yeah, it's just he got to the mid-range, just elevates at 6'9" over the top of those defenders.
Mast, another 3. He is 5 for 5 from behind the arc.
Yeah, Staten just not able to really get out, and that'll be an area that Staten improves on, right? Just as you guard college level post. But Mast puts a lot of pressure on the defense, and he has impacted this first half.
Bring Mast up to 19 points to lead the way for the Huskers. 46-40, Nebraska leading at BYU. 3:48 left to play here in the first. Takes us to our under 4 media timeout. We'll step aside. Back with more action here on Big Ten Plus. Welcome back. Nebraska leading BYU 46-40, 3:48 left to play in the first. And taking a look at some of Rink Mast, what else he can do besides hit threes. The assist there, Sanford for 3, getting going from behind the arc. Multiple Huskers now hitting threes in an area that Coach Hoiberg really emphasized going into this season.
Yeah, Nebraska averaged less than 8 threes a game a year ago, which is really rare for a Coach Hoiberg team. Just kind of based on their pro style motion, 5 out. You're naturally going to get a lot of 3-point shots. So, you went from averaging less than 8 a year ago to 9 of 19 already in the first half. So, certainly has to feel good about that. As you mentioned, multiple players have made a 3. With 5 of them coming from your 6'9", 7-year senior Rink Mast.
5 for 5 from 3-point. Robert Wright, the third here, or 1-1. Knocks down the first one. Wright's got 7 points, 3 assists. Make it 8. 46-42, Nebraska. Hoiberg out to Sanford. Sanford into the lane, kick out to Lawrence. Mast falls down in the lane. Blue for 3. Off the mark, out of bounds, BYU basketball.
Yeah, BYU made a nice adjustment there. They actually switched the ball screen with Mast, which created kind of a mismatch. So Nebraska moved Mast into the post, just not able to really take advantage of that matchup. Good possession by BYU, good adjustment by Coach Young. Now, Coach Hoiberg will probably look at that adjustment and figure out the best spot to put Mast in for their offense.
Devonta working on Sanford. There's a double team. Kick out to Wright. Wright in the paint. Kick out to Devonta. 3 is good. Seeing a little bit of everything from the #1 overall recruit. Freshman phenom up to 16 points.
Yeah, really good possession by BYU. Forced Nebraska to double the post. A good job of finding the backside shooter, Devonta.
Boop a little too aggressive there on Mast. Picks up the foul. So Huskers into the bonus. That is the 7th team foul on BYU. Miss from the free throw line. And Prager with the hustle play. So it goes out of bounds, Nebraska basketball.
Yeah, good job by Prager, just staying active.
46-45 Nebraska. Blue set to inbounds here. Lawrence gets it set here. Prager on the tape. Oh, rims out.
A good aggressive drive by Frager, just not able to get the finish to fall.
Dibonsa called for the travel, trying to kick it back out to Saunders.
Yeah, both teams have done a pretty good job taking care of the basketball. That's 5 turnovers now for BYU, 5 for Nebraska. I think both coaches would want to stay under that, that 12 range for team turnovers for a game.
Lawrence inside to Mast. Mast working on Dibonsa. Turnaround, too strong. Rebound BYU. Here comes Wright. Kick out to Dibonsa for 3. He knocks down another one. Coach Hoiberg calls a timeout as BYU has retaken the lead, 48-46. Dibonsa up to 19. Good find by Wright.
Yeah, it's a very unselfish passing team. That will extra pass there, gets Dibonsa back-to-back threes and gets him up to 19 for the game.
What's Coach Hoiberg telling his guys right now?
Well, I think you have to have attention to where you're closing out to. Both of those threes, I think Nebraska was late. And, you certainly have to know the caliber of player that Dibonsa is, and you want to really run him off of the line, make him be a passer to another teammate. And then offensively, I think they've gotten a little stagnant. BYU's adjustment in the last 4 minutes of switching the ball screen has really slowed Mast's ability to get open threes. So good adjustment by BYU, and then just their ability to play out of the lane into kickouts has led to them on 2 threes and a 6-0 run to take the lead.
Sandford, short, just inside the 3-point line. Saunders, kick out. Here's Wright to the rim. Mast with the rebound. 90 seconds left to play here in the first half. 48-46 BYU. Inside to Frager. Denied by Dibonsa. Kick up. BYU on the take and finish. No good. Back up, though, is Boop.
Yeah, good job by BYU again, taking either a block shot or turnover, getting out in transition, putting pressure on that Nebraska defense.
Under a minute. BYU up 4 inside to Mast. And more transition. Frager with a nice defensive play. Kick out to Blue. Good recovery by BYU.
About a 16-second differential, the shot clock to game clock.
Frager flying all over the place. That one out of bounds. Cougar basketball.
Again, Nebraska's been a little quick. Some of those shots at the rim have been contested. BYU has blocked a couple have come off the rim long. That's led to BYU to get out in transition offense.
Shot clock has been turned off, 29.3. BYU again with the 4-point lead.
You mentioned earlier just BYU's length, just the size around the rim. I feel like Nebraska's maybe forced a few of those shots. And then credit BYU, they, down 46-43, Coach Young took that timeout. They've really responded well. Chance to go up by more than 2 possessions here with a basket.
Dibonsa here, 5 left to play, 4, 3, turnaround jumper. No good. Frager with a big rebound. And that does it for the first half. What a battle. 50-46, BYU leading Nebraska.
Yeah, I think BYU's, kind of that second group that came in really struggled defending some of Nebraska's stuff, so certainly some growth and improvement there. You know, for Nebraska, I think more attention to DeBonsa, you know, is probably something that Coach Hoiberg talked about, just not letting him get so many easy open shots.
Huskers with the ball here to start the second half. Go with their original starting 5. Burke Buyutengel back in for Nebraska. Mast in the corner. Working inside. Turnaround jumper on the baseline. Jamarcus Lawrence there for the tip-in.
Yeah, BYU did a really good job of defending a lot of actions for Nebraska. Forced kind of a tough shot, but credit Lawrence. Just, you know, use his athletic ability to get on that offensive backboard and get the putback.
Travel on Saunders gives the ball back to Nebraska. You know, Jamarcus Lawrence and Rink Mass played on the team that went to the NCAA tournament, very familiar with playing with each other. Nice feed inside from Mass to Buyutengel.
So there you see the adjustment. So they switched the ball screen. So Mass short rolls it, you know, catches it kind of in the mid post where he was able to find, you know, Burke Buyutengel rolling to the rim on the backside. So good adjustment.
Saunders fake, no good. Lawrence gonna push. Pulls it out over to Mass. Mass for 3. 6 for 6. Picks up where he left off in the first half.
And Coach Young actually is starting Boscovich just as a little bit more mobile defender. You could just see Boscovich like, Coach, I got there with my hand and I just couldn't get him to miss. Just kind of shook his head as Mass is having one of those games.
Davis with the bucket back on the other end. Jacobson inside. Kick out, Sanford. Nice take and finish for Bryce Sanford.
Yeah, good job by Jacobson. You know, just that paint touch, play off 2 feet. And then Sanford again, you know, scouting reputation has him as a really good open 3-point shooter. Shot fake's one of the best moves that you can do. Lifts his defender, gets to the basket with a tough finish.
DeBonsa inside. Off the block, puts it back up.
Yeah, 2 really good athletic plays. Buyutengel with the block, and then DeBonsa just stays with it. Gets the easy putback for his 20th and 21st points.
Lawrence, kick out to Sanford. Working on Saunders. To Jacobson, Buyutengel swings it over to Lawrence. Step back 3, short. Kostic with the rebound.
Yeah, another good half-court possession for BYU. Forces the late, tough 3-point shot by Lawrence.
Kostic for 3. Buyutengel with the board.
Yeah, good job by Nebraska. Blocking out, securing the defensive rebound.
Lawrence over to Jacobson. Sanford for 3. That's good.
Good action there. Jacobson kind of ghosts the ball screen, and they run a little pinch screen on the backside for Sanford. Was able to get him a wide open 3-point shot.
Sanford into double figures with 10. Saunders, another travel. Huskers have done a good job defensively on the Cougars returning leading scorer.
Yeah, again, Jacobson does a nice job. Just kind of fighting that drive from Saunders. And Saunders has a little different role this year, right? You've added some pieces, you know, where he's probably trying to figure out where his shots are going to come from.
Mast gets.
You know, right now you don't have Wright on the floor for BYU, which, you know, will play a lot of minutes at their point guard position. Coach Young's looking at some different lineups here.
Siegen in for Mast after he draws the foul.
Got number 6, Kostic. You know, is playing some early minutes in this second half. Again, you don't, as much as these coaches are competitors and, you know, they'd love to see that final score favoring their team, you know, I think there's a bigger picture here, and they, you know, both are looking at some different lineups and some different personnel.
Saunders on Sanford. Kick over to Siegen. Sejan in the lane, up and in.
You know, again, it's something little, but you know, normally when a guard drives it to the rim, you have to play through a second line of defense with a rim protector. But when your bigs, you know, like Mast and even Berke can step out and shoot it, you just open the floor. You have to be able to go out and guard them, which then allows your guards to drive and not have to finish against that second level of defense. So, you know, it doesn't show up on the stat sheet all the time, but just 4s and 5s that can step out and shoot or, you know, help open the floor for the rest of your teammates.
That will take us to our under 16 media timeout. 15:43 in the second. Nebraska leading BYU 60-54. We'll step aside. We'll be back with the action here on Big Ten Plus. 60-54, Nebraska leading BYU in first of 2 exhibition contests for both teams as we welcome you back inside Pinnacle Bank Arena with Andy Markowski. I'm Jessica Cootie. 15:43 left in the second.
Yeah, Nebraska actually had challenged that. They gave it to Nebraska, overruled it, gave it to BYU, and then Coach Hoiberg and staff asked for a challenge. And after the challenge, they gave the ball back to Nebraska. So Coach Hoiberg's 1-1 on the season for challenges.
Lawrence out to Sanford. Back over to Lawrence. Sejan for 3. Drains it.
Yeah, that's a tough shot for Connor. You know, very, very good step-up 3 shooter, but that one was off the dribble going left.
Falling down.
Good range.
Kostic responds on the other end.
A nice answer by BYU there to keep it at 6.
Sejan. Back-to-back for Connor Sejan.
Again, a shot fake, just such a weapon for players if you can.
We got a whistle here. Jamarcus Lawrence.
Yeah, Lawrence
picks up the foul.
Kennard Davis just kind of got tied up. Neither wanted to kind of let the other one go, and they're going to call a foul on Lawrence.
Sejan up to 14 points, 4 of 7 from 3-point. Inside to Saunders, reverse layup is good.
Yeah, good job by Coach Young getting Saunders involved. Nice little sideline out of bounds play, and that's one of those things that I think if this was the season and the game mattered, Nebraska probably wouldn't have fell asleep on that through scouting. You would have known that was probably a play that they were going to run, but it's such early in the year, you just don't have a lot of data and stuff on the other team, and BYU executed that for the basket.
Offensive foul on Saunders.
Yeah, I feel like Saunders has been much more aggressive here in this second half, just looking to kind of probe and attack. They kind of, that's a tough one. If he didn't get called for the charge, he probably drug his pivot foot. It would have been a travel. Good job by Lawrence, kind of staying in front of Saunders. But I think, you know, if you just look at having right off the floor, you're kind of using Saunders a little bit more as a driver and a creator.
Braden Fragers and Hoiberg in for Nebraska. Side to Jacobson. Tries to get it over to Butenjo, but throws it out of bounds. BYU basketball.
Yeah, right idea by Cale there. Just instead of trying to play through that length and size, you know, got double teamed, was trying to dump it off to Butenjo, and just Butenjo wasn't ready to receive it. Just didn't quite see it early enough. It's now Nebraska's 7th turnover.
66-59, Nebraska leading, approaching the 14-minute mark. Kebakeda back in for BYU as well. Nard Davis Jr. Kick out to Diamande, 3, short. And they're gonna get Connor Sejan on the box out.
Yeah, you see the length of BYU. They've really got a, Kada came back off the bench. They've got Boop playing as well. Davis, just a really long physical group. Season kind of held on the block out there. And Nebraska's, for the first time really don't have Lawrence in as your primary ball handler.
Bonza over a Sejan. There's a offensive rebound.
Again, just Nebraska getting a little out physical on the backboard with this lineup.
Bonza inside. Denied by Butengel. Here come the Huskers. Frager, kick out to Garcia for three. That's good. And a takeaway.
With the steal. The heads-up play.
The Sejan jumper rims in. Huskers on a run. Sejan is fired up. 71-59. Nebraska on top. And BYU wants to talk about it here. What a stretch. Fireworks here inside PBA.
Yeah, it's just great emotion for exhibition game. But Berke, this is what people, last year Berke Butengel sprained his ankle after the Rainbow Classic late in the year and just never got himself back, but yet just such a great defender.
All right, that will take us to a timeout. Nebraska up 71-59 over BYU here on Big Ten Plus. Bank Arena, Nebraska with its largest lead of the game, 71-59 over BYU. And they've done it with Rick Bass sitting on the bench. Connor Sejan getting going here. He's up to 16 points, hitting 4 of 7 from behind the arc.
Yeah, just, really tough three there, and then, ran a good set for him to get him open on the right side. A little pull up off of the Hoiberg steal. And he's up to 16, but Nebraska with 25 quick points here after halftime with 13-10 still remaining in the second half. So, on pace to go over that century mark, which is, not easy to do, again, especially with the team as talented as BYU.
5 different Huskers have hit a three-pointer.
Yeah, and again, both coaches are playing some different lineups here. The transfer, Robert Wright III, started in the first half and then has not played. Playing DeBonce as the point guard. He speaks to his continued versatility and skill.
10 on the shot clock. Bonza here, 4-3, inside the lane, inside to Boop. Good play there. Time winding down.
Yeah, just really good poise. Again, gets himself into the lane. He could have jumped up and probably shot at a tough 15, 14-foot pull-up, but instead finds open teammate.
Heat check for a Sejan. Got a whistle inside. Garcia picks up the foul. Third team foul for Nebraska.
And that's what Nebraska needs their bigs to do, though. They're playing Garcia and Butengel together. Go get on the offensive backboard. This is probably one of the most physical pair that they can play, as their posts. Trying to match the physicality of BYU's front line.
Butengel on DeBonce. Called him for the foul. Crowd doesn't like it. Been impressed with Butengel on the defensive end today.
Yeah, again, we went to break there just to finish, but as a defensive post, they can switch him on to different matchups. He's really good in the ball screen, whether you're in drop coverage or if he needs to hedge or switch. So his versatility allows Coach Hoiberg and Coach Linser to do a lot of different things on the defensive end with teams that ball screen. I think he's improved as an offensive player. Last year, coming off of that ankle sprain, never really got himself back into rhythm offensively, and I think you'll see more out of him this year.
Boop with a strong board and puts it back up. 8-point lead.
But he's made a couple defensive plays in this game that just, shows you his ability against, really talented A.J. Devanza.
Hoiberg kick out to Asijan on the drive. Nice bounce pass to Buyutacel and one. Nice play there from Asijan. Strong finish from Buyutacel. Huskers back up 10. That will take us to our under 12 media timeout. 73-63 Nebraska over BYU. We'll step aside. Back with more here on Big Ten Plus. Welcome back inside Pinnacle Bank Arena with Andy Markowski. I'm Jessica Cootie. Nebraska up 73-63 over BYU. 11:35 left in the second. Kind of talked about this, but A.J. Devanza, projected top 3 lottery pick in the upcoming NBA draft and next year's NBA draft. There's lots of scouts on hand here today and a good crowd. Some sprinkles of blue here for BYU fans, but do you feel like Devanza's done what he needed to do for these scouts, which I'm sure will follow him around all season long?
Yeah, I mean, obviously they're looking, down the road, but, tremendous just overall basketball player, high IQ, really, I haven't seen him defend, against like legit players. I mean, that's, he hasn't been asked to do that in this game, but from an offensive package, just everything you'd want to see. Versatile, strong, quick, good vision, good shooter. Seems like a great teammate, always kind of in control. So certainly a lot to like.
5 on the shot clock. And a foul is called on the baseline on Garcia. Devanza's played 26 minutes here today, too.
Yeah, certainly young body, right? He can wear his mask. I think Rink might be done for the day. I don't know what the goal for Coach Hoiberg with Rink, but playing 17 minutes in that
Again,
first
coming
half,
off the injury. Hadn't played in over a year.
I had a feeling the second half would maybe play out a little different in terms of what coaches are trying to get out of the game. And
but it's good to get some other players going, as we've seen with Mass on the bench. Frager on Devanza. Knocked away by Hoiberg. Loose ball. Saunders comes away with it. Draws the foul. He'll head to the free throw line. Sam Hoiberg just gets his hands on so many basketballs.
Yeah, I think it's a combination. I mean, Sam's a really good athlete, right? He's got good quickness, but more than that, I think he's a well-studied. He understands the game. He's a fifth-year player. He saw that he kind of blew up that. If you go back and watch that highlight, he knew that screen was coming, where he was able to blow it up, get to the inside of it, and just credit Saunders. Saunders is a crafty veteran too. He kind of stayed with it, he collected the loose ball, and got himself to the free throw line. But
rare miss from Saunders there on the first free throw.
Yeah, was over 80% from the hardest feat in as an offensive player is to be in the 90-50-40 club. That's 90% from the free throw, 50 from the 2, and 40 from the 3. He was in the 80-50-40, which is still really elite club. And there he misses 2 free throws, which is, as an 80-plus free throw shooter, that's probably won't happen again this season.
I was going to say not going to happen very often. Kick out to Frager. 10 on the shot clock. For to Hoiberg. Hoiberg on the drive. Kick out to Mass. 4-3. 7 for 7. What a return for Rink Mass back to Pinnacle Bank Arena. Devanza back on the other end. Quiets the crowd.
Yeah, we're seeing really 2 high-level performances here today. I mean,
quite the duel.
I mean, Mass hits the the 7-3, and then you see Devonta's just athleticism getting out, running that left wing and attacking the rim effortlessly. But again, you know, Coach Sam Hoiberg drives in, gets to 2 feet. There you see the foul, but the previous possession, and then BYU has no understanding of where Mast is. And I looked over at the BYU staff, and they're just so frustrated. It's like, you know, the one player that you can't not find on the court right now is Rick Mast. And, you know, again, just, you know, early in the season, you know, great teaching points that these coaching staffs will do a good job of allowing their kids to improve as, you know, the next couple weeks go by before it counts for real.
Bryce Sanford, Jamarcus Lawrence back in for Nebraska, along with Kendall Blue. Lawrence on the drive. Can't get it to go. BYU with the board.
Yeah, good job by Mast. He kind of was able to kind of seal and allow Lawrence to drive in and have a chance to finish that. Just couldn't get the layup to drop.
Saunders for 3, knocks that one down. Cuts it to 8, 76-68.
Yeah, get Saunders into double figures now with 11.
Oh, his first miss of the day. Blue. Loose ball out of bounds, Nebraska basketball.
Yeah, good effort by Nebraska, but that was Mast's probably most difficult 3 of his attempts. And then I really like it. Lawrence, as a senior, makes the extra pass and gets Blue the open 3, and then just the commitment of everybody going in and rebounding. Was able to save the possession with the deflection out of bounds.
12 on the shot clock. Lawrence on the drive. Nice feed to Mast. 2-pointer for Ring Mast. Easy lay in there.
Again, Lawrence, senior point guard. Nice
they play
job.
well together. Kick out. Saunders for 3. Misses everything. Crowd's going to let him know about it. Kostic for 3, knocks it down.
Yeah, Kostic, second 3. Hit one from the right corner, that one from the left corner. Kind of quiets the Nebraska crowd.
Taken away by Boop, but a little aggressive. Foul called on Rig Mast.
Yeah, good job by Boop. Just really forcing Mast off the block, using his athleticism in that denial, and then Mast, you know, kind of held Boop on that loose ball and was caught for the foul.
17 fouls, so BYU going to be in the bonus from here on out. 8:16 left in the second. 7-point lead for Nebraska, 78-71. Hadim Boop to the free throw line. Knocks down the first one.
Yeah, just Nebraska's 7th turnover for the game. Just kind of looking at rebounding stats here. You know, BYU is 9 offensive rebounds, which, you know, I think that's an area that in the second half BYU's done a really good job of being more active on the backboard.
Boop 2 for 2. He's into double figures with 10. Redshirt freshman. Redshirted last year. Joined the team in December. So lots of young talent here for Kevin Young. 5-point game. Inside. Ring Mast all alone.
Yeah, BYU is switching now that Mast is at the 5, and Nebraska's, you know, just, it's called a split action. That time Nebraska slipped it with Mast, and BYU just not able to defend it. You know, really good offensive basketball for Nebraska.
23 team assists on 29 field goals.
That's incredible. You have to be really happy with that, and, you know, speaks to the culture that, you know, they have as early in this season to share the ball that much is a great sign of things to come.
80-73, that will take us to our under 8 media timeout. 7:48 left in the second. Huskers up by 7 here on Big Ten Plus. (80-73), Nebraska leading BYU in this exhibition contest here inside Pinnacle Bank Arena in Lincoln, Nebraska with Andy Markowski. I'm Jessica Cootie. Ring Mast up to 29 points. Actually missed one today. He's 7 for 8 from the three-point line. And it might seem unreal, but he's capable of hitting that many threes. He hit 6 in a game last year. He's a guy that can knock it down from the outside. He's been able to get a few easier buckets inside here in the second half.
Yeah, I know Coach Hoiberg was excited when, Rink kind of agreed to come back and rehab from that knee injury and, potentially come back for the seventh season. I'm sure Coach Hoiberg's really happy now after watching this performance and, just a really efficient game. He's, not only has scored it well, 29 points, but he's also opened the floor. He's got 3 assists. They put him in some screening sequences that have opened up things for other teammates as well.
Huskers break the full court pressure. Sanford, nice, take and finish on the left-handed side.
You see Frager's, length and athleticism, really like his ability to impact the game, with his length, ability to drive it.
8 on the
very
shot
capable
clock.
Shooter.
Kostic for deep. BYU with another offensive rebound. There's a 3 from Boskovic.
Yeah, really big possession for BYU. Just chased down that rebound. And then that 3 cuts it back to 6. Probably disappointing for Nebraska to not finish that possession with a good defensive rebound.
Frager draws the foul on the floor.
Nice action by Coach Hoiberg there. Puts Frager in the middle of the floor. Left-handed, gets him going to his strong hand. Just nice execution, putting your players in situations to be successful.
Cougars with 5 team fouls, so Huskers take it out of bounds here. Out to Rink, open lane, up and in. 84-76. Saunders for 3, rims out. Nice hustle
great
play.
hustle.
Bernard Davis Jr. Gives BYU another look at it here. Boskovic, kick out. 3 on the way for Diamande, off the mark.
Yeah, good hustle by Davis to get that possession back, not able to capitalize with the open 3. And Nebraska did a better job of blocking out and securing the defensive rebound.
Season on the tape. Kicks it out to Mast. Oh. Little behind the back pass there from Mast and goes out of bounds. Turnover here.
But, even that last layup that Mast had, just the game seems to be slow for him right now. Just was able to kind of go up through traffic. And even that play, just the confidence to kind of throw it behind your back to a season. Coach Hoiberg, I know he wasn't a big fan of it, but yet it's hard to, be critical of what Mast is, giving you in his, short time here at Nebraska. But, even in this game, you got to give him a ability to continue to make plays for this offense.
Utengel in for Mast. There's the double team on Davis. Takeaway by the Huskers. Sanford going to bring it up.
Yeah, Davis picked that dribble up in a tough spot, but credit Utengel really came over with aggressive double team, didn't let the ball out, creates the turnover.
Lawrence floater in the lane is short, comes up with it, out to a Sejan. Sejan for 3. He almost had too much time to think about it.
Yeah, he was going to pass it. It's like, shoot it. He don't get open that often. So great job by Sejan knocking it down.
Sejan up to 19, 5 triples.
Nebraska back up to a 9-point lead.
87-76, under 5 to play to Bonsa.
Just, I don't know if people realize how hard that play was. Just the poise to split the double team.
He makes the hard look easy.
It was just to not panic and know that was, most kids will, their players will throw the ball out before the double team gets there. He let the double team come and then anticipated being able to split it and then hit a tough shot off the backboard. Just a tremendous play.
Sejan too strong on the jumper.
I think they're going to try to keep the ball in DeBonce's hands here would be my guess.
And a foul on Price Sanford. Again, BYU in the bonus.
Yeah, again, I think Nebraska, Coach Hoiberg does more with analytics than anybody. He's got things statted and, from tempo to offensive efficiency to mid-range shots. And, the one thing that I think going back on this is Nebraska has fouled too much. They had 9 in the first half and now 7, 16 fouls, putting the other team in the bonus is something that he'll discuss. Are there some of those fouls that you can eliminate? You want your team to be aggressive, and you're certainly going to foul, but keeping people off the foul line is so important, especially if you're going to play a high possession game. This is, maybe 16 fouls in this game isn't terrible because just the amount of possessions that both teams have had. But as you get into the Big Ten, certainly that's a stat that's important to follow.
Davis 2 for 2, cuts it to 7. Boop checks back in. $87-80, approaching 4 minutes left here in the second half. Comes the screen. Lawrence to a Sejan. Sejan bounce pass to Butengel, can't get the layup to go. 3 for Kostic, too strong. Battle inside, Hoiberg comes down with it. Sejan on the take, draws the foul. Almost got that one to go down. He'll head to the free throw line. Been impressed with the Sejan, getting himself to the rim. He's hit 5 threes, but he's done a good job being aggressive inside.
Yeah, and that's, once you get into, the games that people have you scouted, they know he's a good shooter. So he's going to be able to put it on the floor just like he's doing and, make some layups, make some pull-ups, and also get to the free throw line.
87-80, Nebraska leading BYU. 3:38 left in the second half. We're going to step aside. We got more of the action coming up here on Big Ten Plus. On BYU, with Andy Markowski, I'm Jessica Cootie. Sejan is fouled, so he's headed to the free throw line for 2 out of the timeout. Sejan with 19 points. Too strong on the first free throw.
Yeah, now 7-10 for Nebraska for the game. BYU's been to the line 19 times.
20 points for Connor Sejan. 8-point lead for the Huskers.
Yeah, Jacobson back on the floor. Hoiberg, Coach Lawrence, a couple of your better defenders. Berke now at the 5.
Ibanza draws another foul. He'll head back to the free throw line. Although his first free throws here coming up for the second half. He's 5 for 5 in the first half, so his first trip.
Yeah, I think, that first half, really found offense, scored for himself, transition threes. He'd been, a little bit more of a facilitator in this half. Not passive, but just, really good passer. Found his teammates for some baskets. I think late in the game, you'll see him, try to take over, maybe, go make the play that BYU needs him to make to either finish games or in this situation, try to get them back into the game. There you see his, ability to get to the foul line. You cut it back to 6 here. BYU just needs to stop. You get a stop, a bucket, and another stop, and you're going to have a chance for this game to play itself out over the last couple minutes with a chance to win on the road.
Ivanza up to 27 points, 7 for 7 from the free throw line, 88-82. 3:15 left to play in the second. Esijan for three. Can't get that one to go.
Yeah, same play that Coach Hoiberg got Sanford the three. Came back with it with Esijan. Again, a good look, good execution, just not able to knock it down.
Devanza, too strong on that one. Mass pulls down the rebound up to Esijan. Marcus Lawrence gonna get it all set.
Sorry, Jessica, pretty good defense by Hoiberg there. Just kind of stayed in front, walled up. You know, Devanza still was able to get a really good look at the rim, just couldn't get it to drop.
Lawrence on the take. Devanza with the rebound. Goes coast to coast and one. .29 for Devanza. Head to the free throw line, try to make it a three-point play. 88-84. 2:23 left in the second.
Yeah, just got exactly what I kind of described. Devanza's really taken over the game here late. BYU gets a couple stops. You know, it's going to be a one-possession game after this free throw.
8 for 8, 30 points for Devanza.
You know, for Nebraska, you know, last year you knew where the ball was going. It went to Bryce Williams late. You know, who's going to be that player now?
Hoiberg on the take, kick out. And Hoiberg fouled on the drive. So 17 fouls now for BYU, so Nebraska now also in the bonus. Hoiberg will head to the free throw line. Jamarcus Lawrence back in for Connor Esijan.
Yeah, I do think Coach Hoiberg has some versatility here. Lawrence comes in as a good defender. Kind of an OD substitution with Esijan.
Hoiberg knocks down the first one.
And then, you know, based on BYU playing, you know, kind of a bigger lineup, Coach Hoiberg has elected to leave both Mast and BK out on the court together. Gives Nebraska some size with Sanford as a 6'8" 3.
Second free throw. Brings the lead back up to 5. Crowd getting loud. Saunders for 3, short. Butenjo with the rebound.
Yeah, good half-court defense by Sam Hoiberg there. Just made that a really difficult.
Saunders called for the foul. 1:43 left in the second, 90-85 Nebraska, and Hoiberg going back to the free throw line here.
And BYU is kind of running and doubling the basketball, taking Nebraska out of that structure.
Jared McGregor, Alexa Kostic back in for BYU. McGregor in for the first time here today for the Cougars. Missed by Hoiberg, but Huskers come away with it. 15 on the shot clock here.
Yeah, that's Nebraska's 9th offensive rebound.
4-3 and a kickball. Be Nebraska basketball.
Yeah, nice break by Nebraska. There's just 2 seconds left on the shot clock, and that'll be a 20-second reset, even though it might have saved a basket, that kick, as the Mass was pretty open under that backside block.
Hoiberg can get it set here. 1:15 left in the game, 5-point lead for Nebraska. Kick out to Sanford. Too strong on that one, BYU with the rebound. Crowd here in PBA getting loud, trying to get a stop here for the Huskers. Under a minute left to play, 5-point lead for Nebraska. Diamande with the basketball here. Kick out to Kostic. Kostic, jumper is good. 3-point lead for Nebraska, 90-87, under 50 seconds.
Yeah, tough shot by Kostic. Just got to his spot, good elevation, tough little fadeaway.
It's defended pretty well
Yeah,
by
it was
Nebraska.
just a tough shot. Give him credit to cut it to one possession game. About a 18-second differential from game to shot.
7-6 on the shot clock. Buitengel. Skip pass over to Lawrence for 3. Shot clock is off. Hoiberg called for the foul here. 16.8 seconds left. And again, BYU in the bonus, so they'll head to the free throw line.
So Boop is 2 of 2. He's going to get 2 here. That's Nebraska's 10th team foul.
Foul was on Hoiberg, 90-87. 16.8 seconds. Boop knocks down the first one, cuts it to 2, 90-88. Siegen into the game for Lawrence.
So Nebraska does have 3 timeouts left. Going to see some full court pressure here from BYU.
Boop cuts it to 1, 90-89. 16.8 seconds. Shot clock is off. Siegen going to inbound. Kick up to Buitengel. Buitengel will pull it back out and is fouled by Kostic. Throws up the 3 after the whistle. Goes in. Buitengel will head to the free throw line here. What great learning moments here. This kind of situation to be able to learn from here in an exhibition game.
Yeah, it's, Nebraska does a good job of breaking the press. Berke Buitengel goes along. BYU probably fouled the right, statistically the player that they wanted to foul. Now, it's going to come down to, Berke making a couple free throws here, and then Nebraska being able to defend this final 14 seconds. If Buitengel misses this, then Nebraska has to be able to match.
And he misses it. So BYU calls a timeout. 10.3 seconds left. 1-point lead for Nebraska, 90-89.
I think it's interesting that Coach Young took Devonta out with about a minute to go and is not elected to put him back into this situation. So he's going to let his. So you're kind of without Robert Wright, your starting point guard, has not played much in this second half, and you have Devonta on the bench. So certainly trusting some other players to see if they can execute late here and a chance to, steal this exhibition when Nebraska has really controlled the second half. I don't think it's ever been a double-digit lead, but Nebraska had it to 9 several times.
It was 12.
It was 12, right? So it got to double digits, but. Really credit BYU. They've kind of, buckled down here in the last minute and a half and got some key stops. Nebraska's missed, a few open threes and a couple free throws, which, could have closed the door on this game. And, again, those are learning opportunities because both of these teams in the tough Big 12 conference for BYU and obviously the tough Big 10 conference for Nebraska, they're going to be in a lot of close games. And, how you finish these can decide whether you win a close one or lose a close one.
The last couple of seasons, Coach Hoiberg has had what he likes to call his defensive lineup. Do we see that here?
Yeah, I think Coach Hoiberg has always been one to go some OD late. So, you got Jacobson, you got Frager, which gives you some length and rebounding, and you have Lawrence, and you take Mast out and just play one big and Buitengel. So I think, the key here, a lot of times you defend the first shot and then you got to be able to rebound.
Yeah.
So Nebraska is a little smaller with this lineup with just 1-5. So, it's going to be important for you play without fouling and then rebound.
Let's see what Kevin Young has drawn up here. 8 seconds left. 1-point game. Kostic for 3. No good. Loose ball. Another look at it for BYU, and it is off the mark. Nebraska wins the exhibition contest with a defensive stop. 90-89. Over the 8th-ranked BYU Cougars. Again, an exhibition contest. Doesn't count in the win-loss record, but great performance here for Fred Hoiberg's Nebraska Cornhuskers here against a top 10 team going into the season.
Yeah, it was what we'd hoped it would be, right? High scoring, both teams were playing well, and I'll credit Coach Young. I mean, McGregor, 51, hadn't played many minutes, and he left him in at the end of the game, had a chance to really hit the game-winning three. And you know, I think both coaches have to feel really good about setting up this matchup, and I thought the crowd in Lincoln was great for an exhibition game. And you know, I think both teams have the talent to have really successful seasons, but you know, certainly was a fun way to kick off the 25-26 season.
Again, 90-89, Nebraska wins this one over BYU in the first of 2 exhibition contests. The Cougars will face the Tar Heels of North Carolina up next, and for the Huskers, their second exhibition contest coming up against Midland on Monday, October 27th. 6:30, we'll have the action for you here on Big Ten Plus. Thanks to our great Husker Vision crew. For Andy Markowski, I'm Jessica Cootie. Have a great Saturday.